Live, the news on NBC6 starts now.
Good Friday afternoon to you. Thank you so much for being with us. We're actually breaking into coverage right now for special coverage of a very exciting moment here in our community. The U.S. Navy Blue Angels fly over, soaring across South Florida.
Taking place in about 10 seconds here out of Boca. We have live team coverage, keeping our eyes to the sky so that you can see the fighter jets as they fly through our area, honoring and saying thank you to the frontline workers. So let's show you this map here of the flight plan for the Blue Angels. They're going to start here, and they should be starting as we speak there in Boca Raton at Boca Regional Hospital, then making their way down Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Miami, all the way down to Cutler Bay and Homestead, then going back up to Kendall, Miami Lakes, Miramar, where we are, and finally through Coral Springs, Parkland before heading back to Boca. Doing all of this 150-mile route in 25 minutes, Roxy.
It is incredible. We want to bring you a live look from the sky. We have choppers in the air. We have crews on the ground. As all of you are looking up from maybe your backyard, social distancing, of course, as the Blue Angels have said. They say, hey, we want you outside with masks, watching up carefully. This is a live look from the chopper in Broward County. Our eyes looking around to see the Blue Angels coming. And the maneuvers that we're going to see here, they are tight maneuvers. Shelley, in some cases, 2 feet away from each other. It is a tight diamond formation as they soar from Boca all the way down to Homestead, making that roundabout back up. And this is a moment, Shelley, we were just talking about. Oh, here we go.
There they go.
Let's take it in. Wow. 6 Blue Angels there, 2 feet from each other, holding down. Again, started in Boca Raton Regional Hospital, coming down Federal Highway, and passing right over Broward General down to Joe DiMaggio
Wow, there's that
Children's
smoke.
Hospital.
That is such a beautiful spot. By the way, that minimum speed, 120 miles per hour. So just imagine. And again, like you were saying, they're about 1 to 2 feet away from each other, those wingspans. And this is absolutely beautiful. So from Boca, making their way down to Federal Highway, US 1 to make their way to Miami, where they're going to pass by hospitals and loop around Jackson Memorial Hospital, go back up to touch on a Baptist and Doctors in Coral Gables. So it is absolutely breathtaking to watch this. And I wish we were outside, Roxy, to be able to hear it.
But we are going to be your voices right now and enjoy and take this moment in with all of you watching. Maybe as the Blue Angels are making their way down south from Broward, you could watch on your TVs at home, run outside when we tell you they're heading on down to Dade, and then go back out 1,000 to 1,500 feet above the ground here in South Florida. And you know what, folks, as you run outside to see this, get loud and cheer. There you see the smoke again. What a moment. What a moment. You see the blue waters there in Fort Lauderdale.
All right, we want to go out to Willard Shepard, who's been leading our coverage here as a fighter jet pilot himself. Willard, what an incredible sight we are watching. What are you seeing from where you are? You're in Port Miami, so they're not quite there yet.
Yeah, they're at Port Miami, but you know, from spending a big chunk of my life flying these airplanes, it's hard for me to be on the ground here today and not up there actually flying. But I'm showing the Blue Angels love today. I have on the Blue Angel colors and not the Air Force colors in all of this. And really, it's an amazing thing that they're doing. That 2 to 3 foot distance between the airplanes. A lot of people think this is a stunt. It is not any kind of stunt. This is the kind of thing that you have to do in pilot training to actually graduate pilot training in the Air Force or Navy to be able to go on and then fly a fighter aircraft. And so this is something they're used to, although today 25 minutes in that formation is a significant time period. I want to step out of the way here for just a second and talk to Chris Thomas with the Miami-Dade County Police Office. This is really all about you guys. Tell me about having the Blue Angels out here coming to say thank you.
What an honor, Mr. Shepard. We're privileged to be here. We're seeing this happen all over the country, and it's a show of solidarity. It's a great honor for members who serve the country to not only to take their time, but also their resources to come and show their honor for the first responders, those working in the hospitals, our medical professionals. Everyone's doing their part, and this is the way that they're doing their part with us.
You have feelings on both sides of this because you're from a military family yourself. So tell me about that and your service to our community here now.
I've got members of the military in my family, so it's a great honor, especially when I speak to them and they see these moments. These are the moments that you remember that go down in history that remind them that it was all worth it. So to see family members go through the military, successfully complete their time in the military, and now coming as a servant in my community, it's a great honor to see other servants that come to serve. So everyone's doing their part, and that's a major plus for us.
All right, well, thank you so much for your service, and all of the people from the Miami-Dade County Police Department up here on the roof where we are waiting for the jets to come by. Also, Customs and Border Protection, Miami-Dade County Fire Rescue up here as well. And back to this flight, ladies. Normally, when we see a show with the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds, it's in a confined airspace. That airspace is all cleared out, and they're able to do a wide variety of maneuvers in there. Normally, there are 4 of the jets that are together that are following the flight leader in the formation flights, and then you have the solo number 5 and solo number 6, the opposing solo. And if you've been to these air shows, they do the real high-speed maneuvers that can show off what this particular jet can do. This is historic in a lot of ways, but it's historic for aviation enthusiasts who follow this type of thing. This is the last year that the Blue Angels will be flying this particular jet, which is an F-18 Hornet. It's going to be replaced with a modified version and a much more advanced version of this airplane that's larger and in tactical situations can do a lot more capabilities with a lot more weapons on it. But today, the Navy Blue Angels are showing off what they can do as they come down on this route, and we're now catching and seeing them. If we can get the live picture here of them coming over the port of Miami. You see the jets with the smoke on, and the one who is trailing the formation right now, taking pictures along in there and moving back up in. They're going to make a left turn here and head down towards Brickell. And you see that jet off on the right. He's moving back into his position. They fly off the flight leader throughout these maneuvers, and he is getting back into his slot over there on the far right side of the formation as they are down moving toward Key Biscayne as we speak right now. And number 6 is back along in there. People along in this area where I am obviously delighted with what they are seeing. And now they're turning back northbound, and they will be coming over the eastern edge of the port of Miami. And people waving here on the ground, looking up as the Blue Angels in a beautiful sight. And Shelley and Roxy, as they leave and depart to the south there, John Morales, who was also an aviation enthusiast and pilot, down at his home in the area of Coconut Grove. And John, they're headed down your way.
No, they sure are. So I already caught a glimpse of them off to the north, and they are circling, as you said, and they're supposed to come down US 1 pretty soon. And if they do, we'll get a good glimpse of them right here from my little setup here, from my little camera as they come through. The weather is just absolutely spectacular for what's going on today. We've got, mainly clear skies, a low humidity. The sun is pretty strong. That's why I'm standing here in the shade. But otherwise, just a picture perfect day for us to be able to see this. And again, they should be coming down this way after they circle pretty soon.
Yeah, John, we are watching a live look here from Chopper 6 overhead. So we're watching the Blue Angels right now heading down your way, continuing south there. They're going to head down over Baptist and Kendall through the Coral Gables area around where you are, then make that loop down in Homestead and head back up. John, it's incredible. It's a perfect day to watch and taken a moment like this. And when we saw from Willard's camera there on the ground in Port Miami, to feel the roar and to hear the roar of the Blue Angels flying overhead, but to feel it, John, have you heard them come over you yet?
No, they have not come over me yet, but I did hear them, and I caught a glimpse of them off to the north. And remember, they were going to do that loop right around Jackson Hospital, not far from downtown Miami. So we're just waiting for them to come down this way, because the understanding is that they'll be along US 1. Keep in mind, so I live in the North Grove, right? I live not far from Vizcaya, not far from Mercy Hospital. So there is a hospital here as well that they could honor by flying nearby or over the Mercy Hospital facilities, which, as you know, are right there on Biscayne Bay. So waiting for that to happen, but I already caught out of the corner of my eye a glimpse of them off there to the north, and I'm looking forward to them coming right over our region pretty soon.
Carlos Suarez reporting police are actually trying to get people moving on the Rickenbacker Causeway because people are stopped trying to get a sneak peek of this. So as you can imagine, this is probably speaking to a lot of parts of our area.
Yeah, this is really exciting for anybody joining us now. Special coverage here of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. They have been flying all across our great state, honoring our healthcare heroes. So flying over major hospitals from Boca Raton all the way down to Homestead, and so many people outside in their backyards. We've seen some people on their rooftops. Please be careful. Of course, one of the messages from the Blue Angels when they posted all this information was, make sure you wear your masks. We are wearing ours, but by God, they are changing their masks when they get into that F-18 Hornet. Willard Shepard, who is a fighter pilot, telling us that they are going to be updating that model. For anybody that has ever been to the air show and witnessed either the F-18 Blue Angels or the F-16 Air Force Thunderbirds, it is an incredible sight. It's a proud moment. It's a moment that unifies all of us. So today we are all under the same sky, witnessing the same moment, whether it's a little peek like we saw, like John Morales just said, so many people just getting a quick peek, or, you know, maybe if you are on the rooftop of Palmetto General or Doctors Hospital, or, you know, really witnessing the full strength and power of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels.
Incredible to look at it against those blue skies. This is a culmination of more than a month of planning between local state officials and the Blue Angels to make sure that this could go off without a hitch. We know that they started this last month in New York City, and then they made their way down to Dallas and also New Orleans just days ago. They were in Atlanta last week and Jacksonville just this morning, and making this 150-mile trip around South Florida in a matter of 25 minutes here now watching live with us. We are going to go on to Ari Adzer, who is stationed right now at Memorial West, where they're expecting to see this. But Ari, it sounds like so many people are out there right now, right outside of you. You've been waiting for a long time for this.
Yeah, we've watched the crowd increase over the last 20 minutes or so. We're on the parking garage rooftop here at Memorial West in Pembroke Pines. So if I walk out of the way and my photographer Felix Castro can pan over, you'll see everybody's wearing a mask. All the doctors, nurses, and technicians are standing 6 feet apart. They're all trying to do social distancing. Obviously, they know the importance of that. And they're all waiting here for that buzz of electricity when those Blue Angels come flying over us. We're talking about, if you don't know the history of this group, they've been around for 74 years, the Blue Angels. Right now, they're flying FA-18 Hornet fighter jets. It's an incredible precision thing to watch if you've never seen them before. And when they come over here, it's going to be a split second, right? They can fly from 120 miles an hour to 700 miles an hour. So somewhere in between that range, they're going to come by here. As you've seen earlier, Willard saw them flying over where he was. So it's a thrill to see. It's a tribute, of course, to all the people you see around us here on this rooftop who are dealing with the healthcare crisis that we're all going through. People coming in with COVID-19 symptoms, treating those as best they can here at Memorial West. We know that they have a lot of those patients here in the Memorial system. This hospital probably has more than any other of the Memorial campuses of patients with COVID-19. So they really appreciate what's going to happen here, and they're hoping to see a good show here in just a few minutes, because from our vantage point, we can see Hard Rock Stadium in the distance, and we can see all the way south, you know, almost limitless skies here because it's such a clear day, as John Morales was saying. So the horizon's pretty far, so we're waiting to watch on the horizon as the jets come from south to north where we are. So as soon as it happens, you will see it when we see it here on the rooftop at Memorial West, guys.
Wow. Ari, I don't know if you're still there, but we have been covering this for at least 8 weeks, and we are talking about COVID-19. And as we were saying, you know, breaking news here at 1 o'clock, Roxy and I were able to smile when we were saying breaking news, because this is such a fresh, a breath of fresh air that we've needed for so long, and so have those frontline workers, like you've said. This reminds them that, again, this is all worth it.
Well, we've all done lots of stories, and we put lots of stories on our air about all the good things that have happened during this pandemic. People helping other people, agencies reaching out to help people, people finding ways to help society any way they can, whether that's just by staying home and not being a spreader of this virus, or by going out and actively helping people, sewing masks together, building ventilators, building different kinds of supplies that can be used in hospitals and for the frontline workers. So we try to show those stories as much as we can, but it's still a depressing time in American history with so many people being out of work, the economy being in a shambles, people worried about bringing this disease home, people mourning the loss of loved ones. All of this is bad news, but what you just said, the Blue Angels flying by gives a lift, right? Literally a lift of spirits, you know, to everyone who's fighting this battle, including all the civilians who aren't actively engaged, but just a chance to see that coming by. It's definitely a lift of spirits, I would say, without question.
Yeah, and Ari,
still no sign of them in sight here.
We're watching the figure of 5 here, figure 6, I should say, flying overhead. Lifting of your spirits, but if you're close enough to feel the roar of the Thunderbirds, you will literally feel a lift in your soul as well, because you know, as slow as 120 miles per hour, but they can go up to Mach speeds, of course, as we have seen. Willard Shepard was talking.
Okay, guys.
Oh, there you go. Let's take it in. Let's listen.
See them in the distance. Well, I don't know if you're on our camera or not, but from a distance we can see them. You can see the plume of smoke that the 5 jets emit just to make themselves more visible.
Yeah, we're seeing
them. And you
them
see them
closer
over there on the horizon right now.
We just really
so
want
they're going to make this turn to head north.
And we really want to take in that moment, Ari, where everyone who is standing there on the roof of Memorial West cheers along. We heard the cheers kind of start a little bit as you're starting to get a peek of the Blue Angels coming your way. So we want to make sure to take a pause and to take in those cheers along with you and with all the healthcare workers that you're standing with. Social distancing, 6 feet apart, masks and gloves on, but we want to take that moment in with you.
Yeah, so do we. And we can see the smoke in the distance. They are flying, it looked like, from east to west just now. Now they appear to be heading sort of north. As you can see, perhaps the trail of smoke that they're leaving. So from there to here, depending on how fast they're going, shouldn't take very long. This is one way to beat the traffic, is to fly in a Blue Angel jet.
Yeah, you know, Ari,
one of the things I learned.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to tell you guys something about some of the things these guys do are so amazing. They fly sometimes as close as 18 inches apart from wing to wing. That's how close they can get, flying at incredible speeds at 18 inches apart. I don't think they're going to be flying in that particular formation here, but it's going to be impressive whatever they do.
Yeah, they're about 2 feet apart, Ari, and they're holding that formation.
Here they come right now, Felix. You see them? Here they go.
There you
Here
go.
they come right now. There they go. The Blue Angels just flew over the rooftop here at Memorial West in Pembroke Pines to a rousing ovation from everybody who was out here.
Ari, is that music? Can you tell
stuff.
us what that music is that's playing in the background?
It's a little song you may have heard called America the Beautiful.
Okay, I couldn't make it out. That's what I thought it was.
Wow. It surely gives you chills. 2020, everybody's watching with their phones, capturing it. How much video are we going to see of the Blue Angels on our social media feeds later on today?
You know, Ari, what you may not have seen, what Shelly and I and everybody watching along with us on the television, because you were looking up, is how everyone was looking up, phones in hand, and everybody at the exact same moment following and turning, pivoting, following the Blue Angels soaring from up above.
Oh, by the way, now they're playing the Star-Spangled Banner, and sounds like the Whitney Houston version, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's Whitney. Unmistakable. That is definitely Whitney. One of the best versions ever.
Incredible to think about. 150 miles in a matter of 25 minutes. They started at 1 o'clock on the dot from Boca Raton Regional Hospital, where people were gathered as far as the eye can see along their streets, and then came down Federal Highway, US 1, down to downtown Miami, going south to Homestead and now up in Broward County.
And as they make that loop down in Homestead and prepare to head back up, let's go ahead and check back in with Willard Shepard, who's in Port Miami. Willard, you've really guided us and, you know, gotten us excited, given us all the details of what this moment means, what these maneuvers mean, the fact that this is something that these fighter pilots need to, you know, get down pat to pass fighter pilot school. Give us more of your perspective on this moment.
Well, it's really a touching moment. We heard Ari Atzar right there just a moment ago, the emotion of those healthcare workers that he is there with. I just want to say for 1 second, people at Western who are sending me messages that the Blue Angels are actually coming east on their route of them. So if you're out in Western watching us, they will be passing over 595 here very shortly on the eastern section of Weston, and then heading up further north on that flight. Which is only going to go on for a couple more minutes. For the healthcare workers and the professionals we're here with on the ground, law enforcement professionals, we heard that emotion coming out in terms of what Ari had been is talking to those people, and the playing of the national anthem and those kinds of things. And for those of us who are military people and veterans, we talk about, and I wrote about this on the NBC6 app and website, that we think about courage and honor and those types of things, and we normally think about that in a combat environment. This is actual combat in our homeland, but these healthcare professionals are facing an enemy that they can't see. And it really has touched me and has touched other military people I have served with, who really have admiration, a tremendous admiration. I really don't have enough that I can say about being able to go into that kind of environment. These Blue Angel pilots signed up for this, went through tremendous training to be able to go out and do this. After these types of flights, they will go back into combat squadrons and are prepared to do that and ask for that duty, as those of us who have served in this fashion have. But these doctors and nurses, that's not what they signed up for, but they are going in every single day to deal with this. And for those of us who have come from a military background, we can't tell you how much of a sense of honor and courage that we have for all that they are doing. And hopefully this flight today will bring just a short bit and a respite from what they're dealing with as they go back inside and have to deal with this again, and brought them some joy.
Certainly. So I want to ask you, for people who don't know, you can actually refuel these flights mid-flight. Can you explain to that, talk to that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, that's, as a matter of fact, one of our colleagues at NBC asked me about, because they saw the flight map come out and they were leaving Boca Raton. It says, oh, well, we'll take off from Boca Raton. First of all, the runway there is not long enough for us to be able to do that there. But they can refuel in air. It's something that we count on all the time, and is a procedure that allows us in a combat environment to be able not to take the time. It takes time, and it's time consuming to come back on the ground, land the airplane, refuel the airplane, brief about the things that need to be done, and then go back again. It's much more expeditious in that environment to be able to just refuel the airplane in the air and to continue on with that combat mission. Also, when we're traveling over the ocean, over the Atlantic or so, it's our gas station in the sky, because these planes are impressive, but they don't have the kind of range that a normal airliner would.
You know, Willard, I had one of the greatest privileges of my life was to fly in an F-16 Thunderbird about 9 years ago, and we took off from the Homestead Air Base, and we were up in the air, and it seemed like we were over Lake Okeechobee in seconds, and I thought that my pilot was joking, but he said, no, Ms. Vargas, if something happens somewhere in the world, we need to get there and get there fast. The mechanics of in this case, the F-18 Hornets that the Blue Angels are flying it's just incredible, because like you said, these are pilots who sign up for combat to get somewhere and get the job done, get in and get out and do it quickly. Of course, what they're doing this afternoon for this moment is uniting all of us under the same perfect blue South Florida sky. But it's an incredible moment and an incredible show of strength, will, and just great pride for this great nation, for all that our healthcare workers have done and continue to do, and so many others, so many other essential workers, sanitation workers, social workers. We can go on, but all of us united at this very moment for the same reason, and that's a very powerful feeling to take in.
Oh, yes, 1,000% on what you're saying, and I'm remiss if I don't mention all of the people that are the support people, the maintenance people, the logistics people that are with the Blue Angel Squadron. In a fighter squadron, there are only about 30 fighter pilots, and there are about 1,000 people that are in that squadron that are in that unit to actually support them across the board. And none of this can happen without all of the ground support personnel that brought joy, hopefully, to these healthcare workers and law enforcement people for a few moments this afternoon.
Willard, thank you so much for your guidance. We're going to talk to you again and take this all in once again in our newscast coming up at 4 o'clock. And everyone at home, thank you for spending these 25 minutes with us watching this historic and profound moment unfold live on television. We ask you, we know you probably have pictures and videos, send them our way. We'd love to share them on air with you at home. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you at 4.